Thank you for coming. So the whole key in the Tao is find a balance of our life. So there are many other ways that we have to find. So the emotional balance is one very important part. But before we can get the emotional balance, we have to get the organs balance. Because when anything out of balance, they don't flow, okay, or they stop moving. So the Tao's always symbolic them as a yin-yang symbol, mean the yin push the yang, and the yang push the yin. And nobody win, and they continue moving. And nobody win, and nobody lose. As long as nobody win and nobody lose, the energy will flow and moving. But once somebody will say, I'm going to kick you out, it stops floating. That's what the Tao theory. And actually now, this is the theory of the universe, that everything is spinning and floating, and everything are moving. So everyone, from the first thing, like our universe, and all the planets, very interesting that when they can spin in an orbit, that means every planet, for example, our Earth, they must have at least four other subject or object, like the star have to pull in four equal. So one pull up, one pull down, one pull to the front, one pull to the back. Now we can move in the orbit. So that is very important. So if anything out of balance, the Earth will not spinning in orbit, and we're in a big trouble. Okay, so that's why, as long as we still have the Earth spinning in an orbit for 5 billion years, it's a long time. Okay, and it's still going to be continue spinning in orbit for many billion years. We hope so. Huh? So that is the simple theory in the Tao practice. So we're going to emphasize in the first step is the organs. The organ, when they don't spin in the orbit, now we balance. Now we're going to get in trouble. So, like in the Tao, so we said we have 5. So the whole key that we want to talk and that can really helping you is how we look at the 5 elements. The 5 elements. So when the 5 elements, we have separate them in the 5 major colors. Organs, color, and how organ relating to each other. So that is the major part. When the organs are strong and healthy, it change everything. It starts from healthy, from emotional, from our life happiness. So we always say when we happy, so we know that stress and emotional cause sickness. So when we have too much negative, the negative emotional, we also always want to find a balance. It doesn't mean I want to be absolutely good. There's no such thing. So the same thing in our life, we call acid and alkali, or the West known as a pH balance. The pH balance mean what? It means that the pH balance means the acid and alkali have to be equal. So the soil, the water, and our saliva, our urine, our blood have to be in pH balance. So that means if we say acid is bad, alkali is good. So I want more alkali and very little acid. Can we do that? It's not a pH balance. So I like the Tao theory, and in the negative emotional part, they always have to keep them. Two emotional have to keep in balance. That means as long as you get in balance, you don't. So emotional, if you don't go extreme, it's okay. I don't like you, I hate you, it's okay. As long as you don't go extreme. So sometimes, emotional is what everyday life, okay, is expressed. I don't like this, I don't like that, or I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. It's okay. As long as we can keep it in a balancing way. When you go extreme hatred, extreme jealousy, extreme anger, now it started to go higher. Our balance now. Okay, when our balance, we have no control, and that's why we do bad things, hurt people. So that's why in the Tao said, to keep balance or get rid of the negative. I think to keep balance is easier in life. To get rid of, like we grow up in our life. I mean, I also grew up in a Christian. So when I grow up, I always have to fight the devil, kill the devil, and I don't want to give way to the devil. So fight the devil a lot. And I grew up in like that. Until when I learned the Tao, I said, I like this, no devil to fight. Because this is an unwinnable war, I don't know how to win them. And we also fight the same war for so long. Okay? I don't know how long we've been fighting the devil. Okay? And you're fighting an unwinnable war, I don't know why we're going to fight for that. So I like the theory of emotional balance. That is the key. Okay, so that's why in the beginning classes on the Tao is we call back to the wisdom, back to the emotional wisdom. The emotional wisdom is very important. So one thing, if you understand that I don't have to fight the negative emotional, all I have to do is find a balance, you get the wisdom. You're not fighting any war anymore. But I live together with the negative. But I also grow the positive to find a balance with the negative. And that is easier life. And I don't have to be a holy man. It's not easy how to be a holy man. I don't get angry, you don't get jealousy and everything. So that is, and another piece that the Tao's always very emphasize is we said, back to the body and the mind wisdom. Because, our brain, our mind are so, nowadays we use the mind so much. And our mind are so busy. And so in this very busy part, we're creating a lot of acid. Okay, we call stress. Stress creating a lot of acid. But we cannot handle it. We don't know what to do, how to do this busy life. And the mind actually born to be connected with the whole body. Okay? To control every single organ in working function. To control the hormone system in working function. So that's why our mind are so busy in controlling the body. And that is 80% to 90%. But nowadays we have the mind outside. How many percent? we have the mind outside, how many percent? 100%. It's a lot. Huh? So you never have time to back to your body at all. So when our mind are so much out, okay, so we're totally out. Now the major function of the brain. What is the major function of the brain? Control everything in law order inside us, in balance. It makes sure everything work, make our digestion work, absorption work, make sure the elimination work. But the function is not there because we put our mind out. So the first step in the Tao is you have to take time to go back to your own body. If you don't take time, so that's why we get sick, we get emotional, because we never come back to ourselves. Okay? And so come back to ourselves, I think the West do a lot, but they don't know what to do. They do a lot of research, but they don't do much. They don't know what to do with it. You know? Okay. They know it's a very simple. I look at this, I said, this is amazing. The West discovers so many of these things, but everything is more in the mind. And okay, if you have a problem, we'll make a pill for you. That's it. Any problem, take a pill. Simple. You have psychology problem, we get you a pill to make you calm down. And a few days, few weeks, we come back again. Okay. So actually, we know that we are in a very two very simple. We have sympathetic, parasympathetic, and vagus is the automatic nervous system. And this one is control. We cannot control it, but the mind control. Okay. So when we are in the parasympathetic, we call stress. More stress, more stress. So we in what? Fight and flight response. And now we know fight and flight response is the quickest and the fastest creating acid. It's the quickest because so we fight or fight, and when we in the fight and flight response, the next stage we are freezing the system. We freeze, and the last stage we disassociate with the body. Okay, we are too stressful and stressed out. Now, but when we in the parasympathetic mode, we back. So in the Tao's actually, the practice that I've been teaching and training is the inner smile. The inner smile involves you learn how to smile, but started to smile inwardly. And that's exactly what we say, back to your body and your mind wisdom. You come back to yourself, and when you come back to yourself, now, so when you in the smile, in the inner smile, the smile mode, and in the rest mode, we are in the rest and digestion. So this is amazing. Okay, if we understand that, we are coming into a rest and digest. And when you are digest, we're coming into to feed. Feed means absorption. Absorb and feed to the cells. And breathe is we're growing more cells. So absorb, digestion, absorption, and elimination. You know, when we eat in the morning, we have breakfast. How long it take to digest? It take one meal, big meal. How long it take to digestion? To digest the food, how long? How many hours? Yeah, so it's the normal, just whatever you eat, normally how many hours? at least 4 to 5 hours. So 4 to 5 hour digestion of the food. Now, after that, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, what we have? Lunch. So, after you have a lunch, how many hours you need to digest? Another 4 or 5 hours, right? So it's 10 hours already. And the dinner we have again, the food. And how many hours we need to digest? Another 4 and 5 hours. So how many hours we need to digest food and exhausting food? 15 hours. But when you are so stressful, what happens? It stops. When you are stressful, it stops or slow down the digestion. So in this parasympathetic mode, when we are stressed, our eyes are very open. Okay? But when we relax the mind, the eye dim down. That is very important about the eyes. Okay? And the saliva, when we are stressful, the saliva come out. Stressful is stop, inhibit the saliva come out. But when we relax and smile, especially you learn how to smile inwardly, make yourself right into the parasympathetic mode. So the smile is amazing. Okay? So I teaching this 30, 40 years, I say I like this. And look at the West research, they are so mapped out very clearly. Okay? So when you smile, relax, the saliva produce. Okay? And when you relax, the heart beats slow. But in the other part, when you in the fight mode, in war, now everything body go to war. The heart beat faster. And the exhaustion have to slow down. Exhaustion have to slow down or stop. When we in fighting a war, when you're fighting war, everybody go out and fight. And nobody going to be growing a rice or growing a chicken because all the young men going to fight the war. And who's going to do that? Now, in the stomach, when we're in the fight mode, is inhibit the secretion of the digestion. But when we in rest mode, parasympathetic mode, the stomach actually secretes a moving and secretion the digestion just to help digesting food. So you see in a very stressed mode, so we call a good stretch and a consistent long-term stress and emotional. It affecting so much on the digestion, absorption, elimination. When we're in war, the most important part is what? Food supply, right? So digestion and absorption is what you do. It gives you a food supply, give you nutrition. But if we don't have it, we're going to lose the war. Okay. So that's why we're getting sick, because we're out of balance. Okay. And when we in the very stressed mode, the lung beat very fast because it go to war. So the last intestine have to start to not doing the job of elimination. Lung is the biggest elimination. See? And the kidney is the second, and the last intestine is number 3. So if we don't move bowel movement, we still can live for a few days or weeks, Okay. If we not urine, we maybe live for a few days. If we don't breathe, how long we live? Few minutes. So that's why lungs is the biggest elimination. But when we are very stressful, everything goes into supply energy to war. Every cell needs energy to make war. So when we stress, the body don't know. The body don't know that what you do. They think that you're in war, so everybody go to war. Leave everything and go to war. Yeah. Nobody producing food, nobody growing food, nobody do anything, just go to war. And that's why we are suffering in this way. But we live in a very busy life, what we going to do? But if you learn how to find a balance in the between of your busy day, you can do it. But if you know that if your whole day stretch, number one, we get indigestion. Because the food that in the morning that you eat, you don't digest. And after that, when lunchtime comes, and the stomach put all the food there and you're so busy and you not even digest. And lunchtime you eat the food again. And the stomach says, what? The morning food I haven't digested yet. And it pushed to the small intestine. And the small intestine said, what are you doing? This is not my job. A stomach, you're supposed to digest the food in a nano state. So I can absorb it. It's not my job to do digestion there. So the small intestine cannot absorb food, it's stuck there. So after lunchtime, the whole food pushed down to the small intestine again. Now, there's no way to get out. Yeah. Because all the undigested food pushing from stomach to the small intestine and to the large intestine. And now the large intestine also don't know what to do with it. Because the food has to be small enough and the bacteria can compose them. And when it composes to one level, we move gas and we move out the stool. So the whole system started to get trouble. So this is the major part of our balance. Our balance. Because we need good stress. We don't need a long-term stress and emotion. Stress always go together with emotional. Okay? A negative emotional, if we don't know how to handle them, we are starting to have our balance. So that's why, so now you see in this one is very interesting in the bladder and the kidney. When we are very stressful, the bladder started to, when we stress the bladder expansion, and it tells the kidney to slow down filtering the waste material or stop, because you are in war. And you cannot get a gun and shooting, boom, 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 and you need to pee, right? And you say, hey, stop, give me 1 minute pee. I don't think they're going to stop for you. So the body prevents that. So sometimes when we're so stressful, we forget to go to the toilet. And when you finish, oh my God, I need to go to the toilet, Because the bladder expansion, so it can just keep the urine inside there, and it tells the kidney slow down or stop filtering, because we are in war. We cannot go to pee in the middle of the war. So stop. That is very bad for the body, because in that hours of 3 hours or 5 hours, when the bladder expansion, now the blood very dirty, and you're so exhausted. So some people, they go on like this every day, they go on. And we need to have, we need something to stimulate it, because we cannot go on, So we're depending on the stimulants too much. Okay. Now, but in the reverse, when you relax, the bladder actually very important, It indicates so many things in the bladder. So in the Chinese medicine, the bladder meridian is big. And amazing, when you learn how to smile to the bladder, you can feel that, hey, energy go right along the spine. Actually, is connecting to all the other organs. It seems like the bladder is a key. When you have a full bladder, and that is it really makes you uneasy, and it affecting the whole body. Okay. And when the bladder infection, big trouble. Okay. Especially when the getting older people, when the bladder infection is connected to the kidney, and kidney infection, and now when the kidney infection it go into the blood, and the blood infection now life-threatening, because usually the older people, when they get to this level, it's very hard to survive, because the infection goes from the bladder all the way up. So the bladder, when we relax, it shrink down, and we need to go to the toilet to pee. And now the kidney, so the bladder tells the kidney, okay, now you can filtering, okay, because we are not in war, and now I have time to pee. And so that's why the stress mode is very bad for us. But we are living in a very, very stressful society. Because why? We need to life. We think this is life. And we have to so much stress to go to life. Now, the next one, so when you are in the fight, in the stress mode, fight and fight response mode, the adrenaline, so in the fight mode, adrenaline activate and secretion the adrenaline, because this is the one that responds for fight mode. Adrenaline. When adrenaline coming up, it makes the heart beat faster, lung faster, activate the brain, activate the liver. So everything started to, and the kidney, we need extra energy. We need extra energy. Where the extra energy come from? It's the reserve energy. It's just like when a country go to war, it's depending how much reserve food and everything you have for war, and depending how long you can go to war. And that is the kidney. So our kidney store reserve energy. When we in fight mode, kidney give energy from a reserve in the kidney to give power to fight. Okay, but we are nowadays fooling the kidney every day, because we are fooling the adrenal gland every day. You know, so and it's amazing, you know, and we have to have something to stimulate, pick up. So we said, when I'm in China, you know, if any tea that have enough caffeine, that you drink them and pick you up. That means you're so tired, exhausted, and you drink a glass of tea, and boom, oh, okay, let's go to work. You know, and that tea is very expensive, you know, because it's just like just a cup of tea and make you wake up and you go to work. But the whole effect is so amazing. The affecting is that we stimulate the adrenaline gland to secretion the adrenaline. And the whole thing is that the body don't like it. The caffeine or the cigarette, the nicotine. So these two things is very minor, but it stimulates. Because the trick is it mildly stimulate the adrenaline. And because the body sound alert, somebody attacking us. Because the nicotine, the body don't like it. Caffeine, the body don't like it. So it sound alert, and the adrenaline gland secretion, adrenaline, now we awake. Because we are in war. Okay, we are awake. And every day we are stimulate them, every day, sometimes few times a day. What happened? Until one day you're crying woof too much, and nobody believes you anymore. And the adrenaline gland said bye-bye. I cannot do it. So now the biggest problem we have now is adrenaline gland fatigue syndrome. And it leading into chronic fatigue syndrome. And the West don't know what to deal with it. Because we run out of energy. All the organ exhaustion. And it's the organ exhaustion, because all the organs store energy, it exhausts out and finish. And it drains out and no more energy. So that is the major key. Because the organs store jing, part of the major jing, part of the major life force. And is so we're going to be doing a very simple practice. Is the organs. So if we understand there are two parts of the body, two parts of the organ. So one we call full organs and they are empty organs. Okay. So we call Zhang and Fu. So one yin, one yang. And they're going together as a pair. So we say the heart is yin organs, is full. And the small intestine is an empty organ, is full. They work together. They work as a team. So in the part of esoteric, the Zhang store essence, store energy. And the way that we drain the heart, that means when the heart have our balance. So in the fire element, we say the heart like fire. Somebody, so when we look at the chart, somebody born with very big heart fire, but the rest are very small. And usually this kind of person, they burn out. Okay? They either give so much love, they either doing so many things, and they expect something, but then nothing come back. You know? So they burn them out. The fire alone will burn out. So it's coming up into the what we call by not balance. So you see when the heart and the small intestine is one pair. So we said the full organ, when we activate the emotional, and it can multiply in the empty organs. That is the key. So the whole key is multiplying the organs, or we call our inner smart or creating cycle, and multiple cycle. And theory is theory, but practice is the key. So we're going to go to the practice. So when I have another chart. So let's look at a very simple part of this. So I make, you see, when the organs stand alone and don't come together, they will eventually gone, finish by itself. If a person have big liver and the rest are very small and is still standing alone like that, too big, so the tree eventually going to die because nobody support. No water, no earth support, it's gone. Okay. So standing alone, a fire, no matter how big you do, if you're standing along, a fire burn out and finish. Okay. And the earth, when there are no water, no tree, no everything to grow on, the earth is dry out. So the way that we have now in our life, we don't know. We use one organ too much sometimes. Some people, it's very interesting, they see big, dominating with one element energy, and they're draining their energy. Okay, so they're using their energy over, and they actually are draining themselves in a certain way. Now, I'm making a combination for you. So you see, when our organs started to stand alone, it started going to be finished. But when we started to move the elements, so the tree, when we have water, it grows the tree. When the tree grows, it can give wood to burn the fire. When the fire burns, it becomes ashes. So this is the one you have to understand and think about it. And when you understand and think about it, the thing gonna happen. we are growing and multiplying the organ energy. Otherwise, so now when you multiply more and more and more, now you have a forest, you have a bigger ocean, you have a bigger land, you can burn more fire, and the metal can creating bigger metal. So that's very simple. But we understand the theory, but we have to put inside the body. That is the key. If we cannot put inside the body, we cannot do it. Okay. So when we okay. So now we're going to do so we understand this part. Is the first step you have to find. That means every day we grow up, or we wake up, we are in the sympathetic mode. We call good stress. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to go here and go there. Now, but if we learn how to find a balance, okay, and you learn how to relax and smile, when people are stressed, it's the eyes. Okay, you can see the eyes. Because nowadays the eyes make us very stressful, especially when the eyes open. You know what happens when we see things. When you see anything, immediately the eye reflects to the brain, and the brain have to put a question mark. What is this? Okay, if you know this guy, okay, or Mr. What, what's the name? If you have a relationship with it, like make you angry, jealous, or hatred, you know, now the whole string of emotion coming out. So we see a person, it can make you very angry and make you blow off. So that's why the whole issue coming out. So that's why in the weekend we're doing the emotional wisdom. You need to learn how to handle the emotional. And the whole key is that we have a power to delete the emotional, and we have the power to compose the negative emotional, and we have the power to recycling it. That when you understand this wisdom, you're not afraid of emotional anymore, because you can either very extreme, toxic, emotional, delete them. Any organic emotional can be composed. So very important to understand. All our emotional is organic emotional, can be composed. Can you have water? So emotional, if you know that, the whole key we have now is that we either suppress emotional or we either expose emotional, right? So when we suppress emotional, what we get? We get sick. And when we expose emotional very violently, what happens? We get punishment or go to jail. So we don't know how to do. So we suppress better. I don't want to go to get punishment or go to jail. So when we suppress it, we get sick. But in the Tao way, say, no. You can, extreme one, delete them, because in your DNA, in your gene, in your memory. So you believe that? You believe that you're born with a delete key? Or no? No. So people think that we're only born with copy key, right? So what happens? Somebody says something bad, makes something bad for you, what happened? We remember. And when you repeat it, what happened? When you repeat to the people, what happened? You make copy. Okay? And when you, every day or few days, you repeat one time, how many copies you make? Okay? Now, when you continue making copy, in 5 years, 10 years, how many copies you make? So we have a very powerful copy key. You know? And we can remember that for long, very long. So remember what, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. That guy make me, that guy cheat me, that guy, and you repeat it. So all the memory what we have is Chiangmai. It's all the negative emotional, we make memory inside. So that's why when we understand that we can, so the whole key, the whole Tao practice is, one, you believe that emotional, when you have your organ balance, emotional store in the organs. Okay, emotional store in organ. So we said angry, jealousy store in the liver, hatred, impatience store in the heart, worry, anxiety, mistrust store in the spleen, and sadness, depression store in the lung. Fear, phobia, trauma store in the kidney. If we believe that, now we can start it to find a balance. Okay? The extreme, when the extreme emotional, or we call the toxic waste, toxic emotional, we delete them. The one that ongoing bucking you day and night, that kind of emotional, we need to delete them. So that's why if you understand this process, you have wisdom. Okay. And it worked that way. It worked that way. Okay. So so up to this point, any question? You like any question? Yes.
How can we cut down our coffee intake consumption?
The
coffee, drinking coffee like every morning to go
yes.
to work.
Yeah. That is the very good key, because coffee is very acid, actually, we know. And so it's quite acid, okay? And the whole key is that you have to get yourself in balance and get your energy level more high. So, so in America, they always, I think in here also now, you have the Mr. Coffee. So before you go to sleep, you put the coffee and put the water, and you set the alarm clock. And when the alarm clock green, it started to brew the coffee. And people, when they smell the coffee, okay. So they have a cup of coffee and let's start the day. Because we need something to, we think that we need something to start us. But actually the body not work that way. So you have to learn, for example, when I get up, a simple way, I get up, I touch my navel, because you have to, number one, you have to believe that the navel area store energy. It's like battery can store chi, can store energy. And and can charge energy. And when you sleep, this area charge. So that's why when you sleep, you don't have food in the stomach. You are charging your battery. When you have food, the body is too busy to work, in no time to charge. And you sleep not well, your battery not charged. So when the people net battery not charge, they have to go to work, they have to make the money. So they need it. But if we don't break this cycle, we're still depending on the stimulant. But the stimulant now we know that it is the whole caffeine is number one, make your heart beat faster. Yes or no? Yeah, it's number one. When the heart beat faster, okay, they get up and work. Okay, but the heart beat faster is in the fight mode. Okay, we are ready to fight the war. Let's get up and fight. Okay. So when people are very sleepy, okay, enemy attack. Now everyone will wake up and prepare to make war. But if you cry wolf every day like that, the body to one level cannot do it. So 1 cup is not enough. So how many cups a day? You need many cups. Okay. So the first step, you have to understand, you have a battery. And that's why this kind of people, when they go on to one level, they're leading them into the adrenal gland exhaustion. You are using because adrenal gland is only when we are in emergency. In fight and flight response, you see, like in our ancestors in olden time, oh my God, dinosaurs is so big. Oh my God, I better run. You don't want to fight now, you run now. And when the adrenal gland stimulate up with the fight and flight response, it speed up twice the power for you. Okay? And you run faster than normal. Wow, so fast, so fast. And you are outrun the dinosaurs. Okay? And you are smart in that time when the adrenal gland activate, they keep your brain active and you're smart. So a lot of people, they say, if they don't smoke and drink coffee, they cannot think. You are in the fight mode, you are survival mode. The lung have to be work so hard, the heart to work so hard, the brain have to active, and the liver have to supply energy to turn to glucose to make every cell have energy to fight the war. Now you are repeating, every day you are repeating the inventory. And you digestion not good, you not rest well, now you are depleting your resupply. So chronic, yesterday I just in Switzerland, teaching in Switzerland. Over there now also have big trouble. They have a whole society of chronic fatigue syndrome society. And they come to the Tao Garden, they make contract. They want to send to people there. Okay? And these people, they're so exhausted. They're totally, and the first thing is that, hey, your battery gone. If your mobile telephone gone, you can have a very expensive one, but the battery don't take charge, right? You charge for the whole night, and you make 1 or 2 calls, and they say, battery low. Okay, you keep on going to sound you the battery low. Okay, what are you going to do with it? So you throw the battery away and change a new battery. But I don't know how we're going to take the whole intestine out and change. So the first thing you learn is this digestion system, absorption system is a battery, can store energy. And if you learn how to charge this battery, you have longer energy long. So that's why nowadays, whoever can make a battery in a mobile telephone last many days, they're number 1 selling mobile in the world. That's all. Okay? The same thing in our life. Your battery can last how long? So we are in the biggest society of spending future energy. Or we are the biggest spending the future money society now. Amazing, huh? Everybody in debt. And in debt of what? Credit card. Or the mortgage, everything. We're in debt. It's just so smart. I don't know, whoever invented this credit card and the mortgage, it's very smart. You pay little money and you can have the whole house. But you pay for the rest of your life. And you pay little money and you have a car to drive. It's okay, We do that, So we are spending what? Future money. You don't have that money. But we spend future money. If anything happens, what happens? Who's going to pay this money? So that's why we are spending incredible future money. The same thing in our body, we're spending incredible on the organ energy. We drain them all out. And we never creating it, if we never recycling it, and we never multiply them, now we're gone. Okay.